Once upon a time, there was a beautiful girl named Karen. Karen and her mother were very poor and had no shoes to wear in summer or winter. So the girl's feet were always red and swollen. The village's only shoemaker felt so sorry for the girl that she started making shoes for her out of old red shoes. The day the old woman delivered the shoes to the girl happened to be the day of Karen's mother's funeral. Karen had no other shoes to wear, so she wore the red shoes to the funeral. As the pastor and Karen trudged along behind the shabby coffin, a large old woman in a carriage stuck her head out and said to the pastor, "If the girl has nowhere to go, may I take her in? I will raise her with care." So Karen was taken in by the lady's house. And the lady threw away her shabby clothes and the red shoes, and gave her beautiful shoes and clothes instead. In the big house, Karen learned to sew, read and write, and everyone who came to the house said, "What a beautiful child." When Karen grew up, she was to be confirmed as a member of the church, so for her confirmation, the lady took her to town, had clothes made, and went into a shoe shop. There, Karen's eyes fell on a pair of shoes. They were red, shiny, and beautiful. Karen told the lady that she wanted the shoes. But the lady was too old and had poor eyesight to see that the shoes were red, so she bought them for Karen. It was not permitted to wear red shoes to confirmation. So if his wife had known that her shoes were red, she would not have bought them. Everyone in the chapel and the pastor all stared at Karen's feet. That day, when the people gathered at church told her that her shoes were red, her wife hurriedly told her, "You must never wear red shoes to church again. Always wear black shoes." "Yes, I understand," Karen replied, but after a while, her wife became seriously ill and was bedridden, and Karen always wore red shoes to church. At church, people again stared at Karen's feet. Throughout the service, Karen was thinking about her red shoes, and she was distracted when singing hymns and forgot to pray. Soon, a ball was to be held in town, and Karen received an invitation. Although Karen was the only one who could look after her sick wife, all she could think about was the ball. As she put on her red shoes and was on her way to the ball, Karen's feet suddenly started to dance. And no matter how much she wanted to stop, she couldn't. What's more, the red shoes were moving in the opposite direction to Karen's feelings. As she danced, she came to a dark forest on the outskirts of town. But her red shoes just kept going deeper and deeper into the forest. Even when she tried to take her shoes off, they stuck to her feet, as if they were a part of her feet, so she couldn't take them off. She continued to dance through the forest, through the fields, and across the grasslands. It rained, the wind blew, and the sun was scorching hot. But she continued to dance. Eventually, she entered a cemetery, and Karen wanted to rest somewhere. But the red shoes wouldn't let her. As she left the cemetery and passed the entrance to the church, she saw an angel standing there in a long white kimono. The angel said, "Oh, what beautiful dancing shoes. They will continue to dance unless you change your mind." After this, the dancing of the red shoes became even more intense. "I'm sorry. Please forgive me," Karen cried, but it was no use. The red shoes continued to dance, moving through thorns, forests, cold rivers, and everywhere else. Karen's hands and feet were covered in wounds, but she had to keep dancing. "Oh, God, please save me. Oh, madam, I'm so sorry." Karen prayed, and for the first time she realized that it was because she had not taken care of her kind wife that her illness had worsened. Then suddenly the light around her grew bright, and the white angel she had seen some time ago entered. The room grew brighter and brighter, the walls grew wider, the ceiling grew higher, and soon Karen could see the organ playing hymns, the rows of chairs, and the pastor's family. The light slowly grew brighter and enveloped her, and her soul was filled with joy as she rose with the sunlight to God.